You can only suppress or manipulate a market by pushing it in the direction that it is going. And it's been easy for them to do that for a long time until now. Until now, when the world wants gold and silver or alternatives to fiat or alternatives to the dollar, this is a losing battle that they are fighting. When we talk about the price of gold and silver not behaving the way we would expect them to, it's because we are looking at it through the wrong lens. In China and Japan, the second and third largest economies in the world, respectively, gold hit an all-time new high on Monday in those two currencies against the yuan and the yen as they continue to weaken against the dollar in the Forex market. Now, again, what really makes the dollar strong? We've talked about this forever. The full faith and credit of the dollar and the petro status. Well, we're losing or have already lost, ultimately, the petro status. The full faith and credit, well, the balance sheet, 2022 balance sheet showed we're 155 trillion in debt, 32 trillion, 33 trillion on the known of or the admitted debt, but then Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, government, military pensions, all owed to the public, 130 trillion. So we're between 150 and 160 trillion in debt by their own admission, with 5 trillion in assets. So when you talk about gold hitting all-time highs against the yen and against the yuan, it should make you say, is it that the lens we are looking at is rose-colored? Is it tinted? Is it slanted? It is, and it is the inordinate and unjustified strength of the dollar that makes gold look weak. And when you talk about the chart we talked about last week, Mark, where we had the 20 largest economies in the world as measured, gold measured against those 20 largest economies in the world, it's at all-time highs. So minus the dollar, it's looking really good all around the world. And this is what I mean by you can only manipulate a market by pushing in the direction it is going. The rest of the world is accumulating it. This is a losing battle. Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. I mean, you have massive oil producers there, right? Argentina. You have a major agricultural producer. And what a lot of people don't know about Argentina as well is that they're the largest natural gas producer in South America. You have Egypt and Ethiopia. Now, why would you bring those two countries in? Well, Egypt controls the Suez Canal, which is a huge shipping route. And Ethiopia is actually the largest and fastest, rather, growing economy in all of Africa. So you're putting all of these groups together that mutually benefit the whole and the countries that are being invited. And you also see China's dumping bonds, by the way. And, you know, between China and Saudi Arabia and Japan dumping bonds, the government wants us to believe that the number 2 or 3 largest accumulator of our treasuries right now is the Cayman Islands. Now, if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. And, you know, it's called a shell corporation, Federal Reserve Shell Corporation in the Cayman Islands. They are running out of people who want to buy our debt. And as that happens, the rates have to go higher to attract more, or the Federal Reserve just monetizes it, which creates hyperinflation. So either way, it's not a good thing. We can talk about just how big this group, or what this group, that this newly formed BRICS 11, what it really means in terms of scope. You have, as of 1/1/24, when the block formally is put together, you will have 30% of global GDP. Now, again, this is just the BRICS. Right now, just using the BRICS, forget about the rest, you're talking 46% of the world's population, 45% of oil production. You also have 75% of the world's manganese, 50% of the graphite, 28% of the nickel, and 10% of the copper. These are all materials that you need to build infrastructure, or to build electric vehicles, or to build any of the things that a green and industrial economy would need. And we are really lacking in the ability to find that stuff on our own. We are reliant upon most of the countries in the Eurasian continent, who are all with the BRICS. So far, since the meeting, a total of 23 countries have formally submitted their applications to join the next BRICS meeting or to join the BRICS group, which will be decided in the next meeting, which is in Russia. Another 22 countries and growing have informally expressed their interest in being part of the group. One of the things that I've been a big fan of talking about is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Eurasian Economic Union, and this combination. Well, I know it's coming, and it's because all of these countries are mixed amongst the Belt Road and the BRICS and these groups. There's so much symmetry in them, so much crossover in membership. Belarus is now proposing to hold a joint summit for the BRICS 11, between the BRICS 11 and the Shanghai Cooperation and the Eurasian Economic Union. I knew this day was coming, and it will come. And the idea is to convert the convergence of these groups. And that would lead to the mother of all conglomerates, of all serious players. Remember, in the span of 1 year, Iran has formally been admitted to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the BRICS. Iran. You're talking the majority of human population. You're talking the majority of all commodities being produced across the globe. This is something that little by little is forming. And you know what? They're smart not to have done this too soon. The fact that Russia and Iran talked about developing a gold-backed Persian Gulf token, a stablecoin. And this would be obviously used for oil. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization talked about a gold-backed settlement currency as well for the entire Eurasian continent. Now we're going to get to the gold-backed currency or the commodity-backed BRICS currency, settlement currency. In fact, at the end of the meeting last 2 weeks ago, the finance ministers were tasked. So they were tasked with figuring this out and coming back next year and proposing or discussing what they came up with. It's coming. There will be a gold or commodity-backed settlement currency to challenge the dollar. It is coming, but the gold-backed stable token between Iran and Russia, or the Eurasian Economic Union or Shanghai Cooperation Organization settlement currency, these are coming. These are all coming. So stay tuned. Do not fall into the trap of instant gratification is not quick enough and turning away. That's what they're counting on. But anyways, when you see Belarus proposing that these countries get together to form an alliance, it's huge. I mean, it's a really big deal. And it's, again, probability, it's going to happen.